Hello and welcome back to Quicks14Blog, Quicks14 here, coming at you with some AQ20 and then some AQ40 that we ran through last week with some good friends. Our guild, Daily Grind, is contacted with quite a few other guilds, mainly the Alliance. Jandris, who's actually one of our officers now, has a lot of contact with him and got in contact, and they were running this old school special that they do, looks like every week, and they were running AQ2040, so went ahead and came along with them. Be doing Blackwing Lair this week, which should be a lot of fun as well. So running through here, I'm not going to go over these bosses too in depth. I know there's been a lot of videos about this already. I know Hobbs has covered it pretty darn well in his videos, especially AQ40. So I'm just going to kind of briefly go through these and show you as we're going through each boss. This was a ton of fun, and it was really cool not only to network with some of the other casual raiding guilds that are out there, that are in the same position, pugs as well, that were also along for the ride for this. It was a lot of fun. Daily Grind as a new casual raiding guild on WoW really showed its colors and its character, I think, and I'm very proud of them being here. Now, I don't want to turn this into a video just about Daily Grind, but I'd never run AQ before. I'd seen it quite a bit, so this was a nice opportunity to go back and check it out and have a lot of fun with it. My wife wasn't able to make AQ20, but she was able to make AQ40, as you'll see. So that was really cool. She actually even got a mount, one of the Silphus mounts out of it, which was awesome. So, as you can see here, well, AQ20 is not too difficult. It's very big, obviously, as it was designed to be, and you can get lost pretty easy. But honestly, it's not too bad. Obviously, these are mostly level 62s and such, elite. So, but you still need to watch it. I mean, these may be gray, but you could still die. In fact, a few people do. It can still happen. So don't go in there thinking you're invulnerable. Obviously, the better gear you have will make this even easier. Now, getting the mounts can happen in AQ20. They're not as common, or there's not as many, obviously, as there is in 40. These bosses all have different caveats about them. Obviously, doesn't really matter too much because it's pretty easy to do. Lag, look at that. You get a first-hand look at me having a lag spike. Isn't that great? You know how frustrating that is as a healer? Let me tell you, there's nothing more frustrating than a lag spike. And actually, if you notice, we're actually 19 manning this right now. So AQ20 was a lot of fun, and we got it done pretty darn quickly. So we were able to go do AQ40, which was an utter blast. It was so much fun. Especially having a lot of the guilties there. I believe we pretty much pulled all the 80s that were online that we could in, and it was just a blast. I believe it's the Immortal Alliance on. There's the achievements, fam. There's my achievement, and everybody else's. Immortal Alliance on WoW is the one that actually does these events. They do them every Thursday right now. It's their plan. Yeah, look at that. Go back up there. Look at that achievement spam. That is so awesome. So awesome. So that's pretty much AQ20 in a nutshell. Not too hard, not too much. It was just a warm up and a way to get excited to go run AQ40. And so after that, we took the time to go ahead and pull people together and invite as many people as we could, and went ahead and ran AQ40. Now, I started the video recording a little late, as you can see, as we just downed the first bosses. I guess it's bosses, because they kind of clone themselves or something like that. Turn themselves into 2 instead of 1. So, a lot more drops on the mounts the different types of mounts. Everybody got a good chance. Unfortunately, I didn't get one, but my wife did. A lot of our guild members did. A lot of other people that came along from Alliance and other people did as well. Gotta keep moving. So it was a lot of fun. It's really cool to go back to these old school raids, get the full 40-man group, or at least something close to it, and go run it. It's a nice, like a lot of people have watched the WoW video, Wahab's WoW videos, about him talking about doing stuff like that. It's a nice break from a lot of the new stuff. Whether you're hardcore or casual, or you've never raided before, it's a lot of fun, and people are much more laid back in raids like this, because it's just for fun. The stuff we're getting out of this is really for show. You know, if you do have, well, we did have a couple people around these levels that came along, which was awesome. And they got some actually good stuff out of it, and so they were able to actually knead on some of this stuff. And get something to actually use for a little bit, which I honestly don't suggest, in my opinion, because you can just go to Outland and you'll be replacing it pretty darn quickly. But honestly, this was just a lot of fun to do and to relax. As a healer who can get, it can be very stressful to heal in large raids. I've done 25 and 10. And it can be really, really stressful when things go bad. So to go into a 40 and just heal, you would think would be a nightmare, but it's not. It's still a lot of fun. So even healers have a blast. Tanks must have the most enjoyable time I can imagine doing this, because it's like they're invincible, being able to mow stuff down. Now, unlike 20, the bosses in 40 still have little quippets. So it wasn't like we could just easily go through each one. Most of them we could mow down, like you saw there. But some of them did take a little finesse, and in fact one of them is actually coming up here, and there he is. This boss is always a problem. Always was a problem. Always has been a problem. And so we've had to, work on it. The reason is because you can't really kill him unless he's frozen. And in order to do that, you gotta throw all this ice onto his ass in order to get him. So, we got him down to 1 hit point, and he must have been there for what seemed like forever until we could get enough ice damage on him to actually kill him. It was a nice difference from pretty much a mow through. Doing the poison was a pain. Honestly, the only major healing issues I had to worry about was the lower levels, which we had our share, as well as others. Mastery, who you can see there in our group, is actually a rogue in our group. The only real rogue we have. That's well, not the only rogue we have, but the one that's at least decent level, higher level range. That's about the highest level we've got. So it was great for these guys to come in here, because they're getting experience for this stuff. So there he is. As you can see, he's at 1 hit point, and he's getting frozen now, and freezing the crap out of him. And eventually he finally gets frozen, and then we can kill him. So that was definitely one of the longest fights we've probably had in AQ40, I would say, by far. A lot of fun. A lot of fun. And there he is, and boom, dead. So that was just great. So after him, you move on to the next boss, obviously. I mean, AQ40 is huge. A lot of these 40-mans are really, really big. Raids used to be enormously huge and enormously difficult because of that, and enormously frustrating for, I know I used it too many enormouses there, for many people, because of I mean, you can imagine how hard it can be and how many arguments there are about loot in 10 and 25-man raids, let alone 5-man raids. You can only imagine how much of a pain it was in 20 and 40, and especially in 40-man raids, about loot. Just utterly insane. And I'm really curious to see what happens to a lot of these raids, and if their loot tables change a little bit to be a little more useful within Cataclysm and all that. This is definitely not it. We still have quite a few more coming at you, so I do have a part 2 coming up. So you definitely want to check that out, see how these wonderful little bosses work. This was actually a nice fight, and very different for 40 mans back in the day, but something we're very used to nowadays. So check it out in part 2 as we continue and finish AQ40 coming up next.